thank you all for your patience. All right, we have our fourth and last speaker. Seth Ginther comes to us as the Executive Director of the newly formed U.S. Industrial Pellet Association. USIPA, U.S. Industrial Pellet Association, focuses on issues relating to the manufacturing and exporting of industrial-grade pellets to Europe and other emerging markets. It's currently addressing issues relating to certification standards, sustainability, uniformity of contracts with industrial buyers, as well as the European Union. Seth is also the co-managing partner of the Renewable Energy Practice Group at Hirschler Fleischer law firm, where he has advised clients involved in a broad spectrum of renewable and alternative energy-related products. From 2002 to 2005, Seth served as the Commonwealth of Virginia in the Commonwealth of Virginia as their Senior Assistant Attorney General and Chief of Commerce and Financial Law. Seth earned first a BA in Political Science from Virginia Tech and a JD from the University of Richmond, T.C. Williams School of Law. Was also editor-in-chief of the Richmond Journal of Law and Public Interest. So, Seth, we've had speakers address China, Denmark, Canada, and now Seth comes from that foreign country of the South, Richmond, Virginia. Welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much. I'm going to maybe walk around while I do my presentation to change things up just a little bit. It's a pleasure to be with you all this morning. This is a wonderful opportunity for us as a newly formed association, the U.S. Industrial Pellet Association, to talk about the association, to talk about the emerging markets that we see in Europe, as well as some markets in Asia, and to present to you really what the industrial wood pellet business is and how that's developing abroad, and then to talk briefly about some opportunities that we may see here at home as well. USIPA was formed earlier this year, back in February. It was the vision of 4 of our founding members, Green Circle, Fram Renewable Fuels, Enviva Biomass, and the Westervelt Company. Anybody who is in the wood pellet business likely recognizes these names, and these folks got together and put together the association to address some concerns that were happening abroad. Specifically, we're looking at issues that relate to industrial buyers in Europe as well as the European Union. The industrial buyers over there, including my fellow panel member here, Christian, with the holding company of Dong Energy, have been looking at certification standards for pellets, have been looking at sustainability issues, meaning as a utility in Europe, they need to be certain that the biomass that is sourced to them that they are burning is actually sustainable. So looking at those issues, and then also looking at developing a uniform contract for these types of transactions. The best analogy I can make to that is the American Institute of Architecture has a uniform contract that if you enter into any sort of a building or construction agreement, typically it's going to be on an AIA contract form that is then amended or modified, and what the buyers are moving towards is some sort of uniformity of contract, and that really helps to develop the market. We're organized to address some U.S. domestic policy issues, mainly related to supply and exporting issues. Made sure that to make sure that those sorts of policies that are enacted here facilitate the market. And then we're also working in conjunction with folks like BTEC to try to help develop an industrial pellet market here in the U.S. We've also been organized to address safety and logistics issues relating to industrial wood pellet manufacturing. As many of you probably know, this can be a very, very dangerous business. Wood dust is actually more flammable than coal dust. So when you're producing these pellets and producing this product, you have to be very, very cognizant of that factor. Also, when you're moving the product in a big carrier across across the Atlantic Ocean, you've got to be concerned about safety issues as well with regard to flammability and when they're unloading that product at port. So that's extremely important as well, and we're addressing those issues. And then lastly, what we're really looking to do is professionalize the industrial wood pellet industry. As you'll see in my presentation, it has been a very fragmented industry. And so what we're trying to do is put together industry voices with some of the leading producers so that we can grow the industry for everybody that's involved. Let's talk about wood pellets to Europe and the basics and the value proposition and the business case and why our members are in this business and why likely some of you are in this business or some of you are in the business of supplying some of these folks. Basically, a wood pellet is an energy-dense, uniform fuel made from high-quality wood products. It's made from sawdust. It's made from pulpwood. It's very efficient. It's very reliable, around-the-clock fuel. As many of you know, when we talk about other renewables, the sun does not shine all the time. The wind does not blow all the time. Sourcing energy, renewable energy with biomass is a proven around-the-clock technology that gives specifically wood pellets a very strong advantage to a lot of the other renewables. The particle size is made in such a way that it is easy to transport. It's easy to burn in a boiler. If you are a utility who is buying our product, you can know that you can safely co-fire this product with coal and not gunk up your boiler in the process. That's a key issue. Highly calorific value from an energy BTU content standpoint. Very low moisture content. We're talking about 7% moisture content as compared to 47% moisture content in undensified wood. Basically, what pelletizing is it's taking wood apart and putting it back together without the water. And that can be a very complicated process. But as we take the water out, we're able to drive transportation costs across the Atlantic Ocean. And we're also able to create a much higher fuel source, a higher calorific value. Lower emission levels than fossil fuels and unprocessed woody materials. And the pellet's geometric uniform shape makes it very easy for transport. So those are some of the key advantages of industrial wood pellets when it comes to co-firing these with biomass. Projections for growth in Europe over the next just 4 or 5 years. The market is this in Europe. Europe has signed on to the Kyoto protocols. Because of that, they have certain requirements that utilities meet certain renewable energy standards by certain times in the future. We do not have that currently here in the United States from a national policy standpoint. The Europeans are way ahead of the curve from this standpoint. And industrial grade wood pellets seem to be a great source for industrial utilities in Europe to meet these requirements. If you take the most conservative of estimates, we're talking about 32 million metric tons per year of pellets that will be going to Europe, that will be exported to Europe by the year 2016. If you believe some of the higher estimates, we're looking around 90 million tons. Folks, what this does is this is a huge opportunity in the United States to create jobs, to put people back to work, many times in rural areas of the country. And you will see that our members and our manufacturers are all in the process of doing that. Your average industrial grade wood pellet manufacturing facility is going to employ about 60 individuals in a lot of these hard hit areas directly in the factory, and then is going to also have about 200 other jobs that will be created in the logging community. It's a great economic driver, and it's a great export product to Europe. Lots of demand coming down the pike here in the next 4 or 5 years, and estimates say that this is only going to grow. Currently, the industry as a whole does not have enough production to keep up with this demand, although that's exactly what our members are doing. Our members are in the process of building plants and producing and getting ready to meet this demand as it comes. Where do pellets come from today, and where will they come from in the future? North America is a key exporter to Europe and increasingly to Korea and Japan. Russia, South America, and the Baltics will be competitors in exports to Europe. Carrier competitors will be limited in growth. Portugal, the Baltics are shipped to different destinations such as Korea and Japan, and sustainability is going to be the key here. If you're a pellet manufacturer, no matter where you are in the world, the industrial buyers in the European Union, they want to know that this product is coming from a group and from an area that is practicing responsible, sustainable forestry practices. This is something that we have down to a system in the United States. We can prove chain of custody of where this wood has come from. We can prove that the wood is coming from sustainable forests, and buyers like that, and the European Union likes that. And because we have that stable environment, we have a significant advantage in the U.S. over our competitors for wood pellets in all of these other areas of the world. There's significant energy arbitrage opportunities as raw material costs differential dramatically exceeds shipping costs to Europe. It's a rather detailed slide, but there are opportunities for aggregators, for traders, for folks like Thomas's group, the Gavilon group, to participate in this industry. The industrial grade wood pellets, it is becoming a commoditized market, and as the product moves to a commodity, you're going to see the market opportunities that you will traditionally see there. So there's tremendous opportunities here. Shipping costs from the Southeast are competitive compared to most other regions. When we talk about industrial grade wood pellets here in the U.S., for the most part, we're talking about them coming out of the southeastern United States, and there's a reason for that. The reason is because from the Southeast, you can typically ship at $36 per metric ton. That is going to beat any other competitor in any other area of the world, whether it be Western Australia at $71, whether it be South Africa at $51, whether it be folks in South America at $44. You may ask yourself, well, why wouldn't Europe just export from dense forests in the former Soviet Union? And the answer to that is there are winter shipping challenges. In the southeastern United States, you can grow you can grow trees, you can harvest trees, and you can transport product on a year-round basis. And that offers the industrial producers here a very competitive advantage along with the shipping costs. Pellets are a preferred product to export. If you're in the shipping business, you can get more pellets into a cargo carrier than you can other products. And so that is also an advantage. When we work with shipping companies, we're able to ship a lot of product. It makes it very efficient. And typically those are going to Port of Rotterdam, Port of Amsterdam, places like that. Other key competitive advantages here. There's feedstock certainty and availability. When the European market looks to the U.S., they can point to particularly the Southeast, and they can say, look, we know that there's going to be enough sustainable product here to service us under a long-term contract. That is key. Electricity prices are somewhat stable from a manufacturing standpoint. Remember, these pellets begin as trees. They are shipped either by rail or truck to a manufacturing facility where they're pelletized. The rates to actually make the pellets are fairly competitive and fairly stable. Regional labor costs are good. Permitting requirements have some level of certainty. That's all relative. But in the states where these plants are being built and where the pellets are being manufactured, the ability